chapter of the NAACP and the League of Women Voters for inviting us all here tonight. I am Ida Rowe, and as you probably already guessed, I'm running for Hempstead Village Trustee.
Can't hear. Can't speak your life at home.
I am Ida Rowe, and I'm running for Hempstead Village Trustee, and I'm running with my partner, Dennis Jones. Like many of you, I have concerns about the village of Hempstead and the direction that it's taking. As Dennis and I walked through the village, we were able to speak with many of the residents, and some of you graciously invited us into your homes. I spoke with Mary Johnson, and Mary is a senior citizen in our community, and Mary expressed her concern for public safety, activities for seniors in the community. When I talked to Mary, I told her that my family moved to the Hempstead Village in 1955. And at that time, we were a thriving community. Hempstead schools were once the academic power of Nassau County. My goal is to see Hempstead rise to its former glory. I am a recent retiree from the New York City Department of Education, and I fully understand the function and the duties of the village trustee. The Village Trustee Board is a representation of residents from the local community. The board was created to manage village property, finances, protect the safety, health, and comfort, and the general welfare of its inhabitants. I thank you this evening, and I hope that you have a pleasant dialogue with the candidates.
Thank you, Ms. Rowe. Our next candidate is Dennis Jones.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Jones, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to be able to share with you, the residents, why Ida Rowe and I should be your next village trustees. We've had the pleasure of meeting many of our neighbors who, like this village, want to see things turned around and see it back to its greatness. I've been involved in the village in a number of ways as a parent, with my son in the high school, as a former Democratic Party member and a Democratic Club board member, as a people's complainant and fighter against unfair redistricting, for better schools, fighting for safer streets. And I've been involved in organizations such as the Corporate Accounts, New York Communities for Change, and I'm currently your president of the Chamber of Commerce. What I've come to realize throughout this entire process is that while we all sit up here, have different views and may disagree on some things, we all believe that things should be better. My interest in this position comes from my passion of being a servant. I have been a public servant since 1984, when I served for 25 years in the NYPD. I became a police officer and started in the patrol assignment, where I learned how to execute the community policing model. I then became a narcotics investigator, and then went on to be a detective in the Internal Affairs Bureau and the Intelligence Bureau. I moved to Hempstead in 1999, and after retiring, I recall how busy my life actually got because I really dove into getting involved in the community. The different roles that I have and the organizations that I'm involved with give me a diverse perspective on what comes as some of the issues that we face. So I just want to make it my business to do what you are asking. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Duo Lynette Butler.
is it possible for a child who's awarded a state to survive? How is it possible for that child to get proper food and clothing? How is it possible for that child to get a great education? It's possible because the former First Lady of Antioch Baptist Church gave her clothing. It's possible because Mr. Adams of the Salvation Army would give her extra free lunches to take home for dinner. It's possible because Mr. Hickey made sure she went to college. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jewel Lynette Butler, and I am Hempstead's return on this investment. After completing Hempstead High School, I attended Fisk University of Nashville, Tennessee. I received a bachelor's in accounting. I returned home to Hempstead, I purchased a house, and along with another classmate, I became one of the first 2 blacks to receive an executive MBA from Hofstra University. I raised my sister's 3 children here in Hempstead. I'm a foster parent. I'm a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm a proud member of the National Association of Black Accountants, the Black MBAs. I volunteer at Percy Jackson Youth Center, United Negro College Fund, and I'm a previous Girl Scout leader and Hempstead PTA. Once I'm a trustee, I will focus on the fiscal management using my expertise to reducing crime and beautifying our home of Hempstead. Thank you.
Thank you. The next candidate we have is Lenora Long.
Good evening. I would like to thank the NAACP and the League of Women Voters for having this forum tonight. And the Coordinating Council. I'm sorry, and the Coordinating Council of Civics. I am a proud resident of the village of Hempstead for more than 40 years. My family and I have been here. We have 2 sons. I would like to mention that I served on the Hempstead Village Board. I was a former deputy mayor and trustee. I presently own and operate Infinity Realty here in Hempstead. I'm a former bank manager with a commercial bank on Long Island. And I serve as commissioner on the Assessment Review Commission of Nassau County. That was an interesting position. I was able to reduce the assessment on many of the residents' taxes. I'm here tonight to ask for your vote to put me back on the board. There are many things that I have not completed, and I am prepared to make changes in this administration. I'm a member of the Legal Aid Society. I'm a former president of the Hempdale Civic Association. I'm a board member of the Long Island Fair Housing Association. I'm here tonight again asking for your vote, and I will be more than happy to serve in a manner that would be complimentary to each resident of this village. Thank you.
The next candidate up with an opening statement is Marsha Turner.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. I want to also add my thanks to the League of Women Voters, to the NAACP, to the civic group leaders, and the civic groups. Thank you for hosting this event, and thank everyone for coming out tonight. My name is Marcia P. Turner. I'm a 20-plus year resident of the village of Hempstead. I have raised 2 children here. My grandchildren are now being born and raised here. And as a result, I have a true stake in this village to see Hempstead village thrive, to see the village succeed. And if the village succeed, that must mean the people must succeed. I currently work with New York City Housing Authority in the field of architecture and construction. At NYCHA, which is what we call New York City Housing Authority, we're responsible for over 400,000 residents. We have 334 developments, not counting Section 8, and my heart has always been to see the residents and the community do well. I brought that same passion to the Village of Hempstead Housing Authority in 2013 when I was asked to join when HUD was trying to take over the Village of Hempstead Housing Authority because of mismanagement and other things that were going on. In less than 2 years, myself and other commissioners have managed to turn the Village of Hempstead Housing Authority around, and we have caused much improvement to come to the Housing Authority, and the residents are truly grateful for what we have done in a short time. I want to bring that same dedication and hard work to the trustee board. I want to see Hempstead thrive. I want to see all our children and all of us being proud of Hempstead. I want to see a Hempstead where we can live and work and play and be educated and see success in this village that we can all say, yes, we want to stay and live here. Thank you.
Our last but not least candidate is Mr. Lamont Johnson.
Good evening. Thank you, Hempstead Branch of the NATP, Hempstead Corning Council of Civic Associations. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for inviting me here this evening. I'm a lifelong resident of Hempstead. I'm running because I believe it is time for the divides in our community to be bridged, for leadership in the community that we can trust. Our platform is reconciliation, recommitment, and reconstruction. Necessary building blocks to make our community stronger. Reconciliation, because we need to restore public trust in elected and appointed leaders of our community. Recommitment, because we must begin to embrace the needs of the community and pledge ourselves to collective action with everyone doing their part. Reconstruction, once we have reconciled our differences and recommitted ourselves to the mission of the founding of the Incorporated Village of Hempstead, this rebuilt relationship amongst the residents realizes the vision of a community that outwardly reflects the hopes of the people within it. Only way this can happen is if the leaders we elect uphold the principles of the mission statement of the Village of Hempstead. This is why I'm running for trustee. I believe by working together we can make Hempstead the community that we all want it to be. Because Hempstead matters to me, and I know it matters to you. So on Wednesday, March 18th, I'm humbly asking for your vote. Vote Row D, because Hempstead matters to me.
Asked 4 times, so I'll start with that one. Do you support downtown redevelopment project and why? I'm going to read them all. Do any of you support the downtown project? This one says, Lamont Johnson specifically, how do you feel about the direction of the downtown development and what would you do different? For each candidate, are you in favor of the current downtown revitalization plan, yes or no? So we're going to start this time with Lamont Johnson. Again, you have 2 minutes to respond.
I support downtown development as long as it supports the people of Hempstead. But we can benefit from the downtown development with jobs. I support it. I also want to say that I support downtown development, but I don't necessarily support the amount of apartments buildings being built. We already have enough apartment buildings, that's very evident. The village is already overcrowded. I think we need to bring resources to the community, things that people can use in the community. Community centers. We also need catering halls. We need places for people to go. We already are a city in some sorts because we're not just the suburbs. We have so many people here. The downtown development, I want everybody in the village to get a piece of the pie. I just don't want outside people to benefit from the downtown development. We have contractors, it's supposed to be 25% of the contractors are supposed to be from the village of Hempstead. But what I fear is if we even have 25 people that are qualified who have those contracts. So I think what I would do is, starting right now, is make it my business to make sure we have as many of our people as qualified to get some of these jobs and get some of these contracts when they build these buildings and build this development. Because it doesn't serve us well if we don't get a piece of the pie.
Ms. Marsha Turner, same question. Do you want me to repeat it?
No, that's fine. Development sounds like a positive thing. Now, if we're developing our village, I'm for that. As Mr. Johnson said, I don't want a village where, we are not, the residents are not catered to, the residents are displaced or anything like that, or a development that doesn't consider our needs. I understand that we need housing, but we might want to look at density. So therefore, I would want to see the residents, again, whatever is written in the contract for the percentages for jobs, before and after, during construction, after construction. We must adhere to these contracts. We must make developers accountable so they don't skip out. And we must have a say that the development is pleasing to everyone who's going to be affected. Thank you.
Ms. Lenore Long.
Thank you. In its present form, I do not support the downtown redevelopment plan. The way that agreement was drafted, it is so one-sided. It's all in favor of the developer. There's a contract of sale that does not have a dollar amount in it. I've never seen a contract for real estate where there's no dollar amount in it. They talk about TIF, tax increment financing. With tax increment financing, the taxes does not come to the village in the form of going into the general funds. Those dollars that's coming from the contractor or from the buildings would be going back to the developer to foster their development. So I don't see how that would be helping the residents of this village in any way possible. It sounds good with, oh, there are going to be jobs, you're going to get 25% of the jobs, we're going to build 5-story buildings, and again, it's 12 stories. So actually, we don't even know what these people are planning, and until they come back to the table and sit and listen to the residents and get input from the residents, this is not a good plan for Hempstead Village.
Juliet Butler.
As a lifelong resident, I would love to see improvement in the village of Hempstead. I remember when Hempstead used to be the shopping mecca. I'm sure plenty of you can remember that also. However, I have a grave concern with the downtown plan, with the situation with our school system, the burden that it will put on our school system and our water system. I know in the plan it states that they're going to work on our sewer system, but Hempstead is a 4-mile square radius. I'm concerned about the amount of people that will come in. Again, jobs are always good. I will certainly be adamant about our residents getting jobs, not on good faith. I want to make sure, you know, the plan says good faith, but I'm going to make sure that we get jobs. So in the aspect of improvement, I am in favor, but I do have my reservations and concerns just like the rest of the residents. And I'm not going anywhere, so I'm going to see it through.
Mr. Dennis Jones.
Yes, I'm very much in favor of the project, and as the president of the Chamber of Commerce, I have really been involved in looking at the actual product, and we've seen as many videos as been out in regards to it. But the one thing that is probably that I have reservations about is how it was unveiled. There's not enough of the community that knows about the intricacies of this project. So that is where all of the charge comes from, the political charge comes from, and the confusion about it. There are a community benefits agreement that was put in place to protect the community, and that community benefits agreement is not being discussed at all. And it's only because the people that put that community benefits agreement are no longer involved in it. And we need to make sure that we get new people to be on that board so that they can express to the community where they have protected the community. And until we do that, then we won't get anywhere with this. The mayor has unveiled that out at his last presentation, and you'll see if you watch videos, you'll kind of get an idea of what all of the development is going to look like. It does increase the village business, and it does increase the village residency, but you'll have to take a good look at what all of the other amenities that are going to be there, housing for the seniors, some economic development in certain areas that are completely barren. So there are a lot of good things about the development, but it's because it hasn't been shared with us completely and fully and in transparency. That's why it's confusing.
Ms. Ida.
I believe in smart growth for Hempstead Village. There are tensions throughout our village concerning the development. I think one of my priorities is to go back to the contract and, as a village board, take on the responsibility of reading for understanding. It is very important, as Dennis said, that the community agreements, benefits agreements, be reread and developed further by the village board. I also believe that we have to take into consideration the population shifts. Every community will have a population shift, and we have to be aware and well planned for those shifts. So I am very willing to meet with the board, to have meaningful dialogue, and propose intelligent introductions into how we can develop our village so that all of the residents succeed and survive. And I do understand the objections regarding our schools. It is very important that we call upon local leadership to come to the table to work with us. Senator Kemp Hannon is one of those. Early Hooper is another. Roosevelt School District received schools. We too in Hempstead must have the village board advocate for us. I understand, as I said, the function of the Hempstead Village Board trustee. And in the job description, we have already discussed that I will walk in and do that job.
We're going to start the answers with Mr. Dennis Jones. So I'll read all three cards, and then you'll have a chance to answer. What do you feel is led to the demise of what once was a thriving, growing Hempstead? And how would you go forward to improve or work on the demise of Hempstead? What would you do as a trustee of Hempstead to improve the quality of life, lower crime rate, better school graduation rate, and affordable housing? And what would you do to clean up the filth in Hempstead Village? The Main Street area and the areas around all the bodegas have trash all over the place. Those are all quality of life issues, so if you would please answer in that regard.
Well, quality of life issues and crime are my specialty, and I tell you, it's a problem that all municipalities suffer under. Working in the NYPD, we saw that quality of life issues were just getting out of control, and we were able to stymie them by getting an enforcement unit that dealt just directly with people that were administering these quality of life situations. Our community is made up, it's very diverse, and we have a lot of areas where people are just congregating. We have areas where crime is a hotspot, and the police department, although they have a tough job, they're able to control those particular areas. But we don't have the community policing ethics here. What we need is more of a community policing module where these officers are dealing with the community on a regular basis. Each aspect of the community in the city of New York met with their commanding officer every single month on a basis of talking about what's going on, what are our crime hotspots, how can we fix it, how can we get involved. Here, that doesn't happen as often enough, and we need to make that happen. Crime doesn't necessarily just occur. and come out of nowhere. Our school system is part of that problem, and we really need to address what we do with the kids that do not make it out of this school. What do we do with the gangs that are formulating with the kids that are not attending the classes that they should be? So it's a real, it's a really big problem that we have, and we really need to have a real talk about putting some things into effect to solve it.
Joel Annette Button.
What I feel that led to the demise of Hempstead, one, single-parent homes, you know, that every year that increases, and that's a serious problem. And I grew up here in Hempstead, and I remember teachers living around the corner, the police officer living a few blocks over, and we don't have that anymore. Any of our professionals mainly live outside of the community, and and I remember being disciplined on my way home from school, or whatever trouble I was getting into. I was being stopped by adults, and all that has seemed to disappear. As far as the quality of life and affordable housing, Hempstead has its fair share of affordable housing. I feel that we should spread some of that over to Roosevelt, Rockville Center, Garden City. We do have ample low-income housing. If we do get new buildings, some of those apartments are slated for housing. And as far as beautification and the blight in Hempstead, I feel that we should go to Hofstra University, Adelphi University, Nassau Community College. We have eager students who can come and volunteer and paint over graffiti, clean up the garbage that's around, plant flowers and trees. There's plenty of students to help us out with that and make it a community effort. And as far as the schools go, the community has to come together. That's the bottom line. We have to come together as a community and work on the issues for the sake of our children.
Lenora Long, sorry.
Yes, you asked about the demise of Hempstead Village?
Yes. Yeah, what do you think is the demise of Hempstead Village?
Well, in the late 80s, there was a noticeable change in, enforcement through code enforcement, the building department. Things went astray. I feel that we have a sanitation department, we have DPW. As far as cleaning up, that's a part of their job. The village should not look the way it does, because if everyone was doing their job, we would have that same beautiful Hempstead we had when I moved here in the 1970s. As far as youth, I would want to see programs put in place to assist the youth, especially during the hours after school, to keep them off the street and keep them sort of like in a structured form. I would want to see action taken for senior citizens. We would form committees to work with senior citizens. And as far as affordable housing, we have actually too much housing in the village as it is. What needs to be done is to hold landlords accountable for the condition of the apartments in this village. Some of the things that happen should not happen. When you call the building department, there should be a response. And if necessary, there should be a report made from these apartments, delivered to the trustees, and the trustees are to ensure that they follow through and correct some of the things that's happening in these apartment buildings now.
Ms. Marsha Turner.
I'm just going to say that communities break down a little at a time. I think when we stop paying attention, the next thing we know, things have gone too far. As a trustee, I believe we need to work with each department, with the police department, with the schools, with sanitation, with civic groups. I think as a matter of fact, we could start some more civic groups, and maybe the ones that already exist, which I think are doing a great job, we could grow those, because sometimes we don't even know who our neighbors are. We need to get that community spirit back. We could use some mentoring programs. We started recently My Brother's Keeper. I think that's a great thing, because our young men need that kind of mentoring. We really need to pay attention to the children. So we want to, again, get that community spirit back. Everybody doing their part: sanitation, education, code enforcement, neighbors, and together we could bring things maybe much better than it used to be. Thanks.
Mr. Lamont.
The demise of Hempstead didn't happen overnight. I would have to give you an example of a place I worked in called Harlem, USA. At one time, Harlem was a thriving community, and then drugs came in, and the value of the homes went down, crime went up, and everything was devalued. Some of the same things have happened in the village of Hempstead. Crime has been around too long, a large amount of crime, too many drugs, too many bad things have been happening. And Hempstead has been devalued. But just like in Harlem, it was a time back in 1997 when you could have purchased a brownstone for $1, and you could have refurbished that brownstone. And Harlem is thriving now. But that decision has to be made. We have to make the decision to make Hempstead better. And Hempstead will rise. The only problem I have with that, I've been in Hempstead 43 years. And Hempstead is not rising just for the people that have been here for years. It's rising for a new community. And that's what we need to be concerned about. We've been paying these taxes for years, and we haven't been receiving what we're supposed to receive. And if I wanted to see it to get better, it will get better, but we can't devalue Hempstead. The reason why it's dirty is because we let it become dirty. We throw things on the ground. We have to value Hempstead. We have to give the children something to look forward to. The police department is doing a good job. They can do a lot better. And I didn't hear anybody say one of the main concerns I have is the death, the homicides of our children. Okay, they are our future, and that's what people need to understand. One death is too much. I'm very concerned about the apathy when it comes to death and violence in our communities. The violence will leave, the death will leave, the poverty will leave, and one day Hempstead will get better, only because other people are coming in, and that's wrong. We have, the last 10 years, we haven't been getting the value that we need for our community.
Ms. Ida Rowe, would you like me to repeat the question?
Thank you.
What do you feel led to the demise of what once was a thriving, growing Hempstead, and how would you go forward to improve or work on the demise of Hempstead?
I agree that the demise of Hempstead is multi-layered. It took time. As I said, my family moved here in 1955. And it is disheartening to see that as a community, that collectively we've ignored our environment. But I also believe that moving forward, we have to establish SMART goals. We have to learn how to be specific in the areas that we want to address and work on. We have to establish measurable goals over time. So a goal doesn't mean you set it and then you walk away and do nothing else. You have to have accountable data to show the movement and the progress that you're making. Goals should be attainable. So you don't set a goal that the public, the residents, cannot see happening. You set a goal that we all can address, see, and evaluate how it impacts us. Those goals must be realistic, and they must be timely. So we set a goal and we tell ourselves, within the next year, we will see that downtown Main Street will have an improved paveway so that people can walk safely. Or downtown Hempstead will have foliage showing that people can see that the hour of spring has come upon us. I believe as an educator, we've always established SMART goals, and as a village trustee member, I can support and help the other village members establish the SMART goals. And those SMART goals will start with the development.
Do you support a police-based patrol on the street in the downtown area?
Yes, I do support a police-based patrol on the downtown area, and I think it's much needed. I don't know how recently any of you have driven downtown, down Main Street and Fulton Street late at night. There's a lot of things going on that shouldn't go on. And yes, if we had police patrol there, that would decrease the crime in that area. And just hopefully decrease the crime in Hempstead, period. So I would support that, certainly.
Lenora Young. Long. I know somebody named Lenora Young, sorry.
If you just want to rename me, that's right. Yes, I would support police patrol in the downtown area. As a matter of fact, I was speaking with a young man, and he mentioned that his daughter comes home at a certain hour at night, and he is concerned about the conditions around the bus station, the train station, and if there had been or if there would be some patrol, foot patrol in the area, it would decrease some of the crime and some of the happenings that does occur in that area. So yes, I would support the foot patrol.
Marcia Turner.
I wish I had a little more information on this question and maybe find out why this person thinks we should have that. It seems easy enough to say yes, and so I'm going to say more patrol sounds good for now. I would also want to see more communication with the police department. For example, when we have the trustee board meetings and the police comes out and tell us what's going on, I think that's very good. Maybe they could also visit civic groups and, well, yes, that's true, they do. But I was also thinking about the additional civic groups, so continue to have a dialogue with the police is what I'm getting at, and continue to have that community and police exchange. And, you know, if there's a need, yes, and there's trouble, yes, then of course more patrol would be a good thing.
Mr. Lamont Johnson.
As a former police officer, I support police patrol. I also support zero tolerance for crime. I'll give you an example. When driving down Franklin Street from Garden City, people, they start off at 20, 30 miles an hour, then they end up 40, 50, 60 miles an hour when they get to Hempstead because they know crime is allowed in Hempstead. We have to have a zero tolerance for crime. You don't see people urinating in the street in Garden City or Rockville Center and these other villages because it's not allowed. We have to have a zero tolerance in Hempstead for these crimes. There's no need of having a beautiful downtown, a mansion, if it's not going to be protected. The main thing is people's safety. People want to feel safe. So we can have beautiful buildings, we can have beautiful properties, but they have to be protected. And everyone wants to be protected. There's no need of having a mansion if somebody's going to break into it. So my thing is safety. I believe in safety. I believe in the police force making the Hempstead a better, safer place.
Ms. Hyder.
I believe that the prosperity in any community is public safety. And having police officers walking through the community, and that could be a SMART goal, having them walk specific communities, like the train station, the bus station, walking through Main Street, having meaningful dialogue with the store owners is very important to the community, because then the community and the police officers understand themselves and have a common ground to have this dialogue. It's also important that I know that the police officers come to the civic groups, but it's also more importantly that the police officers meet with community members and the business members and find those common opportunities where we work together. If they're always seeing the differences, we'll never have a complete, cohesive, and collective community. Police officers are very important in any community, and in Hempstead Village, we know we need them. We must form the communication lines. We must establish and teach them SMART goals rather than just sitting in the cars, waiting for crime. Be proactive. Work where the crime hotspots are. Then we start moving and showing what works for this community. I think these are the SMART goals that we can establish as a village board in the village of Hempstead.
Mr. Dennis Jones.
Yes, I agree, and I do think that it's very important to have patrol in the areas where our businesses lie. During the day, of course, we definitely need to have our officers take a moment to actually get out of the cars and interact with the community. You know, we have our officers, and I know many of us will see our officers parked here or parked there. They don't have to wait to get a 911 call to send them somewhere. While you're just doing nothing, drive into this particular area. It doesn't necessarily even have to be our downtown. It could be any part. Get out the car and utilize that opportunity to interact. There are a few other ideas that can be done with our downtown, especially around our train area and our bus area. We do have an MTA police department, and we can do some collaboration with them to probably bring more police officers on this side of town from the MTA and have them stationed over in our area of the train station. So there is some of the things that we can do to collaborate with other initiatives and other law enforcement agencies. So it doesn't have to just be on our own police department. So collaborations are very important, and also utilizing the officers on their downtime when they don't have a call to interact. At nighttime down on Main Street in the downtown area, we'll have to think of another initiative, another idea to try to hold that problem down with the bars, and there's some other issues related to maybe a nightlife organization that we can pull together to get them all to start to police themselves a little bit.
Plan to implement or achieve them.
My three top priority: crime reduction, crime prevention, PAL programs in the schools, and police-based patrol on the streets. The infrastructure, tax reduction committees. I know you said three, but I have another one. Youth programs that work with all the youth, and again, senior citizen action committees. What I would do as far as crime reduction is concerned, we would sit with the police chief and reiterate or discuss what are our priorities, or how can we put something in force to reduce the crime. I know how we can do it, but it would be a discussion. The infrastructure, we have some funds that came from the state. So right now that is sort of like under control, even though we do have a lot of rupturing of the pipes as far as flooding in the village. With the tax reduction action committee, there would have to be a group making decisions as to what we can do and how we will get it done, because the taxes are just out of control. Right now I have a page, 6 pages of properties with taxes, and they're ranging from $13,000 on a one-family property to like $32,000. And I think that is outrageous to have taxes like that in the village of Hempstead. So we will be working on different projects, getting things done and implementing them to bring down the crime, bring the taxes down, and get our youth off the streets to benefit them as well as the people in the village.
Ms. Marsha Turner?
I'm just gonna name the three things: safety, revenues, beautification. Safety, because we talked about crime. Everybody needs to be safe in their community. We would have more dialogue with the police, as I said before. We would continue to have community dialogue. And as we heard the mayor said that the police has managed to bring crime down, we will just continue to work in that direction. We would also have to work with youth, because they're really threatened at this point in terms of not having things to do, getting involved in gangs and things like that. Which leads me to the second point, revenue, which means we need to be able to bring money into the village, which means jobs, which ties in with education, and which also ties in with taxes. We need the balance sheets of the village to be more money coming in and less money going out, less waste, and so on. Beautification, because everyone wants to live in an environment where you feel clean and beautiful. So therefore, we want to look at things like putting some of the trees back, which is also, I say beautification, but it's also part of a green agenda that I'm looking at. Getting the streets cleaned up, getting the businesses to keep their places cleaned up, and just continue to have that sort of environment where we're safe, it's beautiful, and we're not burdened by tax burdens. Thanks.
Mr. Lamont Johnson?
My three things are crime, jobs, and opportunity for the children of Hempstead. This is all very important. The opportunities for the children of Hempstead is very important to me. Education is very important. And after a child becomes educated and get those degrees, I want them to be able to come back to a village that rewards their accomplishments, a village that hires people from within inside the village, a village that doesn't look outside of the village for talent, a village that understands that there are talented people in the village and hires those talented people. That's one of my concerns. My concern is crime. It's a very sad thing when a mother has to go to a funeral for a child. It happens over and over, and enough is not being done. Jobs. Yeah, we need more opportunities. Construction is one opportunity. We have a person here, Reginald Benjamin, who's been doing a fine job with opportunities for jobs, but that's not enough. One person and one avenue for jobs is not enough. Construction, many people can't do construction. We have to build more opportunities and give people more chances to succeed in Hempstead, and we're not doing a good job of that. Other people are benefiting off of Hempstead, not the village residents of Hempstead. Okay? It's good to say we're going to do something, what we haven't done in the last 10 years. And we're going to start doing it now. We had a beautiful speech the other night about what we're going to do. It doesn't take 10 years to do what needs to be done. Okay, so I'm about putting Hempstead first, the people in Hempstead first, and making sure that the opportunities are there. Opportunities for jobs, opportunities for a better education. And we need to a collaboration with the village and the school district. For several years, it's been called two separate entities, and the village has been very disrespectful in regards to helping the school district. Okay, we have been used as a scapegoat at times, and there's only a few people here that can say that they have tried to help the school district instead of just downing it. You cannot help children by just downing them, saying that they're nothing.
Thank you. Ms. Ida Rowe?
Again, I'd like to reiterate that I'm a SMART goals person. So my first priority would be to examine the contract for the development. My next priority would be to work collaboratively with my partner, Dennis Jones, to initiate efforts for better public safety. And my third priority, because I am an educator, and as I said, the Village Trustee Board is a representation of individuals who live in the local community. And as an educator and administrator, I have the skills to bring to the village opportunities to support and help advance our students. And I know that it is very important that in this village, we take opportunities to survey and find educators who want to be on the Hempstead School Board. I think that is something that has been lacking in this village. You need educators on the school board. And I gave you public safety, I gave you the contract, and I believe I gave you schools. So as a village trustee member, I am going to work diligently to adhere to the function and responsibility of a village trustee member. I will follow the guidelines and I will report to you, the residents, because the open dialogue must start.
Highest priority would be the development project and how that brings economic development into our area. $300 million leaves the village of Hempstead every year. And we have to do so many things to try to pull that back. It's a very important area. It's a very important priority. Crime would be next, our safe streets. The areas of safety, not only dealing with crime, but how our streets are addressing our children and how our children have safe travel from home to school and then back. So there's a whole issue behind safe streets and how our police department and the members of our community are safe, during the day and during the night. Education, again, would be number 3, where we do take a stronger look at our school district and our school system and what it's doing for the uneducated, what it's doing for the ones that don't graduate, what we're doing for those that are not college bound, and maybe trade schools and trade needs to be brought in. We just heard a report of BOCES being under fire and not being able to maintain BOCES, and that's going to be a tragedy if we allow that to happen in our community. So what we need to do is we have a number of kids that are not going to graduate high school and go to college, so what are we going to do about that issue? What is our school doing as an alternative, our district doing as an alternative to give them trades? And those are the 3 priorities that I have.
My first priority would be to stop the waste transfer site that they're trying to build at 48 Sewell. I'm not sure if all of you are aware, they want to build a waste transfer site at 48 Sewell, which is off of Peninsula Boulevard behind Taco Bell. The planning board has received an application for it, and I'm in the process of fighting against it, and I'm asking for all of you guys' help to fight against this. We cannot let it happen. A waste transfer site is when they bring the waste into Hempstead, they put chemicals in it and treat it and burn it and downsize it and then transfer it to another place. Our kids suffer from asthma, and God knows what kind of cancer it's going to give us if we were to come here. On Monday, the planning board is having a meeting, Village Hall, 6:30. I'm asking you all to please come out with me and raise your voice against this dump site. We can't let this happen. That's my priority right now. I pray that I win, trustee, but I'm going to continue this fight no matter what until we win. My next priority would be to be liaison between the Hempstead School District and the Village of Hempstead. That idea did come from Mayor Hall, and I am that person for that position, to open up dialogue so we could find ways and communicate of how to get our children on board and on track and prosperous. My next priority would be to use my financial skills to find ways to build revenue. I do not want us to end up like the town of Hempstead. The town of Hempstead, their bond rating decreased because of their deficit. And Hempstead, we cannot face that.
I do know that we have code enforcement in the village, but there's accountability, and the accountability, I think, would allow them to do the job of going out into the community and investigating which homes have 5 to 6 cars in the driveway, which homes have a little more garbage than others. And sometimes we as residents have to say, if we see a neighbor is renting out to 2 or 3 more families, we have to pick up the phone and say, this is not the kind of community that I bought into. But I think what's important too, seeing that there are so many homes that are boarded up in the village of Hempstead, I think collectively as a village board, we may have to look into grants that would support us in acquiring those homes, fixing up those homes, and then selling them to people who want to live in single-family homes. That is one of the things that I would do for the village.
Mr. Dennis Jones.
Well, I don't know how many of us live on blocks where you don't have a vacant home boarded up, because there's a few on my block. So that is a very, very big issue here in the village of Hempstead. It is something that, again, as Mr. Johnson said, we have the building department, you have code enforcers, you have the police department, you have the fire department, you have a lot of agencies that are set in place to look into that issue. It's not a trustee position, it's not a trustee responsibility to do that, but the trustees can look in to make sure that ideas of how to assess those things and how to take a look at what we can offer to the mayor as a plan, would be something that we would do. But we have to make sure as a community that the money that we're paying to have a code enforcer, to have a police department, to have buildings department, all of these, that these people are doing their jobs.
As far as the vacant houses in Hempstead, I would attack the banks. I would get the residents aside me to help me out to attack the banks. And I also would promote the police and teacher next door program for all these vacant homes. These vacant homes are foreclosed, and HUD has them. And HUD has the power to sell them to our teachers and our police officers for half the price. Right now, the prices are extremely high, but we can fight against that to get them to lower that price. And then we can bring law enforcement and educators back into our community, and they'll help out the youth and give us more of a sense of community again, like Hempstead used to be. As far as the low-income housing, we certainly have to utilize code enforcement. I would raise the fine so high on those slumlords, they wouldn't know what hit them. And they would certainly think twice before they break the rules. We also need to inform the landlords about how, if there are gang members and drug dealers in the buildings, that we have a law that says you can put the whole family out. And a lot of them may not even know about that. And we can help the landlords enforce that by creating neighborhood watch programs. So people who are part of that program can help us find out who the gang members are, the drug dealers, who has the houses where 20 people are living in them. These are things that we can do. And also by increasing fines and getting on top of people, that's going to generate some revenue for the village.
Ms. Lenora Long.
As far as absentee landlords and the eroding of values of properties in the village of Hempstead, I would go to the building department. That is the responsibility of the building department to check these things out and make the necessary adjustments. As far as the vacant homes are concerned, as a realtor, I know many of the homes are still owned by the banks. The banks have to negotiate with the homeowner in order to get anything moving forward. So if that could be done, then the village might be able to purchase a dollar home, do the renovations, and resell them. That is one option. And the issue of abandoned homes could be in time eliminated.
We only have unemployment in Hempstead is 10.4%. What will you do to reduce the unemployment rate? And do you believe that ex-offenders need a second chance?
Yes, I believe second offenders need a second chance. I also believe that's one of the problems, that people that are offenders are some of the only people that are getting job opportunities. It's a good thing when you have construction jobs that's given to, people given a second chance. But I want the opportunity also for children and people that have not committed any crime. I want them to have a chance. An 18 or 19-year-old person with a clean record that's been doing the right thing should have the opportunities to get a job also. In Hempstead, many of the people that are getting jobs have already been convicted of crimes, and this program set up for people that are getting a second chance. I want to give a first chance to a person that never committed a crime, that's trying to do the right thing. And when you do the right thing in life, you should be rewarded. So I want all people to have a chance to get a job in Hempstead. In the United States, they said the unemployment rate is like 5%, I believe, but in Hempstead, like you said, it's over 10%. And I believe that's a shame. That also shows that in the last 10 years that we have not been employing our people from Hempstead. And we can start by employing a few people in these more prestigious, important positions in the village of Hempstead. Once again, I believe in the Hempstead talent. I believe in hiring people from Hempstead instead of hiring people from outside the village of Hempstead who are going to take their money out of Hempstead. Okay, you need someone in office who believes in you. Okay? If you have someone in office that does not hire you or does not believe that you have the talent, they don't believe in you. They just believe in helping others become rich off your backs. Okay, you pay the high taxes, you should have some reward for the village that you live in. Okay, I've lived here 43 years. I'm happy the village has rewarded me. I had a great job, a great career. But I want others to receive the same chances that I did. Thank you.
Ms. Ida Rowe?
I do believe that we all deserve a second chance. And I do recognize that there are men who have families and they want to support their families. We always talk about single moms, but there are single dads also in the community, and they too want to support their families. I believe in opportunities where we have build skill development. And if we work with Nassau Community College, if we work with Hofstra University, we're a college town. We forget that. When I watch HGTV, they're always talking about move to a college town, and I look around the corner and I said, I'm in a college town. That college town should be something that we embrace, and we go and knock on the doors and say, we have people who want not necessarily to go to 4 years of college, but they want to build a skill. I think the other opportunity in Hempstead, we have people who are business owners. They could mentor. Help the unions have training. It's not just enough to have a job. People have to think, what career could I pursue that is sustainable? So if I left the village of Hempstead, I could still get work. It's not just a job that you have so you can stay in the village of Hempstead. Sustainable employment, sustainable skills, that's what I would support. And again, I'll reiterate, we all deserve a second chance.
Mr. Dennis Jones?
Yes, I believe that there should be a second chance for everyone. I believe also that our kids deserve that first chance. I believe that we need to go back to education again. If we don't teach our kids how to prepare for the job industry, they're not going to be able to get there. If we don't have an industry and we don't have businesses that are going to hire our families, our kids, our parents, then we're not going to be able to supply that. So if you could take a look at Hempstead in a visual, you know that we don't have the amount of businesses that can hire and give proper jobs to our youth, or even to the adults that are doing the second chance. So what we need to do is really call for economic development in our village. We need to have more businesses coming in. Hopefully this development will spark some of that energy, that we'll get big business here and we'll be able to put 100 to 200 people to work, and then we'll start to see some change. But that's what we really have to call for. As far as being a college town is right. I mean, this has to stop. We have to start calling on all of our resources and pulling them toward us, as opposed to them being far away and we don't ask. If we don't ask Hofstra to do something for us, if we don't ask Adelphi and Nassau Community College to do something for us, they're not going to. So as a people, we need to we need to say, listen, we've got this and we need help. We need to write grants. We need you to write grants for us. We need things to be done so that we can then, on top of those that need help to go to work, we can provide for those that are coming behind them. Because this is not going to stop. The kids are always going to be graduating, and we're always going to have adults that need jobs.
As far as the unemployment rate, we need our skill set higher. We have to have more kids graduating from high school in order so that they can get a job and hopefully go to college and get trades. They need to be introduced to BOCES and let them know that you can go to BOCES while you're in high school for free. You know, I'm an educator, and it's unbelievable how many kids don't know that, or the parents. And we have to get it out there and let them know so that they can have the skill set for employment. You know, of course, Hempstead does not have enough businesses to hold everyone for a job, so they have to have a skill set to go outside of Hempstead. The other thing we can do, a lot of our youth they never even heard of Resume. I know we have 50 Clinton Street, who does that for the community, and they're doing an excellent job, but we need more locations, not just that one location. If you ever go in there, I go in there sometime, and, it's crowded. A lot of times there's not enough computer space for everyone, so we need to open up more centers like that. And yes, everyone deserves a second chance. If we don't give them a second chance, they will offend again, because they have to eat. They have to find a way to survive. And, sometimes crime is the only way they know. So we have to give them a second chance and create programs for them so that they can get into the workforce and contribute to the community.
Yes, I agree. Everyone deserves a second chance. I believe that jobs should be offered to village residents first. We need to invest in training of our youth and our young people. The president has proposed free college tuition. Well, I think we should be looking for grants to train our children in this village. It's just too many kids that's unemployed. And the grant money's there, so we need to write grants, get the funds, and train the kids.
We need to lower the unemployment rate, most definitely. It's not just the youth, even though they are affected. It's also grown people who can't find work. I'm totally in agreement with the second chance. In terms of helping people find jobs, of course, we're going to need revenue, which means businesses, because where are they going to work? Education. Education in terms of finishing high school, going to college. education in terms of trade, BOCES and places like that. And I think we should, as I think it was Dennis who said that, we should, utilize what we have. If education were more affordable, maybe more people could take advantage of that. We need to expand with the mentoring so people can be encouraged, and if they need help in learning, some of us who are able to can facilitate that. And we need to, again, be a community so that we involve the people who need help. Just open up, our doors, open up our resources, and see what we can do to work together.
Okay, this is the land and plans for property owners in the village of Hempstead.
I've always supported tax reductions for people in the village of Hempstead. I'm one of the villagers, so I know my husband and I often apply for a tax reduction. And there are centers around to support and help people with the process. So I would definitely support. And again, it's about looking at ourselves and how we want to live and the quality of life we want to leave for the children behind. And tax reduction, if that's a way to keep us in our homes, then I am in full support.
Mr. Dennis Jones.
Yes, I am in support, and I'm also in support of it being automatic and you don't have to fill out any paperwork. Is that possible? Because I don't know why we got to do paperwork for something like that. But the other day we were able to go down to Dean Skelis's office and talk to him about tax abatements that are being given to big businesses and people stealing. They're taking $25 million apartments and they're paying less taxes than we are here in the village. So I am most definitely in support of tax abatements for our residents.
Of course, I'm in favor of tax reduction. I mean, who wouldn't be? I'm a homeowner, I pay taxes here. As a financial person, I would like to say that finance is the number one reason. Finance has a trickle effect. Everything does. And finance is the number one reason for divorce. And any decrease in the bills of the house will help families stay together, and Hempstead can get back to being a community again.
Yes, of course I would support a tax reduction for the residents. First-time homeowners are getting a 50% reduction in their property taxes. So it should be across the board because Hempstead is out of control when it comes to real estate taxes.
Yes, I agree with the tax reduction. I myself am concerned with the village and other taxes that we pay more than somewhere else, and I'm always curious as to why our taxes don't do more for us. It seems to be a lot that's collected annually, and it doesn't seem to translate into what we're supposed to see in terms of the help that we should be getting as a village. The taxes should cover the sanitation, the other things that, education, and something is amiss. So yes, we need that reduction. And we also need to find a way to monitor and understand how the taxes are being spent. Year come and year go, and it's just a mystery. We need to have a clear understanding of how this money comes in and how it's distributed.
Mr. Johnson.
As a homeowner, of course, I support tax reduction, but I don't support all these pilots that we've been giving to the building developers and the big-time business owners. Okay, we care about the residents of Hempstead. We have to find a way to make sure that if their taxes are reduced or they don't pay that many taxes, maybe we should find a way to lower our taxes. That's very important. I've been hearing for a time that the village has nothing to do with the taxes. They can't do anything about the pilot program. We just can't sit back and say we can't do anything. Of course we can do something. If we reach the right people, if we let people know that we're tired of paying these taxes and not getting a good return on them, I'm sure that a difference will be made. We pay more than our fair share of taxes, and we don't get what we deserve in return. The deputy speaker spoke of a program where the village trustees would have take the position where they could deny a pilot program or not. I think we should look into that because I'm tired of big companies making money and we have to pay these higher taxes and we're not getting what we deserve.
Okay. The closing remarks will go in the opposite order from the opening remarks. So Ms. Ida Rowe will get the last word, and she drew the number 1 card. So I'm going to give Mr. Johnson a minute to compose himself, unless he wants to start right away.
I want you to know one thing. 2 minutes is not enough time to tell you how much I care about Hempstead, how much I love the village of Hempstead, and how much I want all of us to share in the piece of pie that's going to be spread out in Hempstead. I believe that since we've been paying all these taxes all these years, since we dealt with all the crime all these years, so since we dealt with the school system that I'm a part of that is not up to par, we dealt with all these things through the years. But I don't want what happened in Harlem, USA, and Brooklyn to happen in Hempstead. When the good times come, I want us to be a part of the good times. I want us to enjoy what Hempstead has to offer. I want us to get a piece of the pie. I want the contractors, I want people, the landscapers, everyone in Hempstead, the business owners, to get a piece of the pie. We're not getting a piece of the pie. We're paying the taxes, but other people are benefit off the back of people of Hempstead. Enough is enough. I'm sure you all agree that, okay, it's beautiful if you get a beautiful downtown, I understand that. Okay, but what about the people in Hempstead? Okay, it's a few people that's benefiting off of thousands of people in Hempstead. We're not benefiting off of what's going on in Hempstead. You know why I know that? Because we don't have enough business owners to benefit. We don't have enough contractors to benefit. Okay, we're going to get a couple of crumbs off the cake. But we have to build up ourselves. We have to build up Hempstead. We have to believe in Hempstead and stop knocking Hempstead down. And I'm flattered that everybody's concerned about the schools. I'm very concerned about the schools. That's why when Hempstead was a sinking ship, I took command of the vessel and decided that I will not let anyone say we can't do well and we're going to do better. Much has changed since I've been at the helm of the school board. Okay, we're holding everybody accountable. We're making sure that you're getting your taxpayers' money. What people are supposed to earn, that's what they're earning. Okay, we have cut down costs, we have cut down expenses, and we're making sure that Hempstead will be better. Thank you, and vote for me, row D. My name is Lamont Johnson. Lamont Johnson. I care about Hempstead, and I hope you care enough for me and my vision for Hempstead to vote for me, row D, March 18th, 2015. Thank you.
Ms. Marsha Turner.
Okay, I just want to thank everyone again for sitting through, listening to all of us. That shows me that you care about Hempstead. I care about Hempstead. My children, like I said before, are here. We want a Hempstead that we, as well as our children and families, can be proud of. Now, we know all the problems. Now we just have to figure out how to fix it. As a trustee, I want to work with the community. I want to work with the trustee board and the mayor, and I want to get the job done. My key words are fairness and justice. The villagers and the people of Hempstead have been here, and we have waited, and we have toiled, and we have suffered. And I want to see us benefit from anything that's going to come to help our community. The residents should be first priority in benefiting. And this should then spread out to community members, which includes business owners, our children, ourselves, and hopefully we'll build a village that even our grandchildren can be proud of. So I'm asking you on March 18th, which is next Wednesday, to come out and vote row C for change in the Moving Forward Party. I don't know if you realize how many people said moving forward tonight. For myself, Marcia Turner, and my running mate, Julianette Butler, and we will make some changes that are positive. Thank you.
I'm going to tell you a story about a sergeant who was giving a test to his young recruits. He wanted to make sure those students passed this test. So he admonished them and reminded them that 50% of the answers were in the questions. So he suggested that you RTFQ. So everyone was shocked, they didn't know what that meant. So what does that mean? Excuse me. The sergeant suggested that in order to pass the test, you read the fucking questions. So that's what the sergeant said. So with that, I'm asking you, when you go into the booth on Wednesday, read the names on the ballot. Do not fall for the structured ballot where the party is on row A and B. We question how that happened. So I'm asking again that you read each name on the ballot. You make a choice, a good choice. Vote for a person that's going to represent your family. Vote for the person that you feel would be the best representative for this village. So I'm asking you again, don't go for row A and B. You have to read that ballot, because the best people are not necessarily on row A and B. Don't vote for the party. Vote for the person that's going to represent you. And I'm asking that you go to the polls on Wednesday, March 18th, and vote Lenore Long. I will represent you, and I will not, Long will not just go along.
Lynette Butler.
You looking at someone who sincerely cares about Hempstead. The village of Hempstead has really raised me. And I want to be trustee because I want to take care of the village that took care of me. So on March 18th, I hope you all come out to vote for myself and my running mate, Marcia Turner, row C. Mi para familia Latinas, de Hempstead es nuestro hogar. Again, March 18th, row C for change. Moving forward party. Thank you.
Mr. Dennis Jones.
Well, so to close, I just wanted to leave you with something that I heard during the anniversary of the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. And our President, Barack Obama, he said in his eloquent speech, America is not constant. America is a constant work in progress. It requires the occasional disruption, the willingness to speak out for what's right and shake up the status quo. I tell you, you can't keep conforming to promises that other people have said and not kept. We stand up and demand a change. We have to prepare to set that change in motion. Then our Attorney General, Eric Holder, said during his speech in Selma that change is not inevitable. It's not just going to come. He said progress is not preordained. He went on to say, question authority and the old ways. Work, struggle, challenge, entrenched power. You know what that is? Persevere and overcome. So I say to you, Hempstead, we can rise. Hempstead can rise. Hempstead is rising. Ida, Rowe, and Dennis Jones are part of that rising. So we're asking you to come out and join us and vote for Jones and Rowe on March 18th, row A all the way. And I don't know what party other people are talking about, but we're the Hempstead Rising Party. Okay? Thank you.
Ms. Ida Rowe.
Thank you. I look at our village like my school building. I was an administrator in Flushing, Queens. And in the school building, there are groups of people
who need meaningful leadership, accountable leadership, safe and orderly environment, and an agent of change. I am your agent of change. I realize that my experience and my passion for community calls me to serve you. I'm going to close with a quote from Barack Obama, and it's from his inaugural address. You just recently gave us something recent. This is his inaugural address. He said, "What is required of us now is a new era of responsibility. This is the price and the promise of citizenship. Dennis and I are your new era of responsibility. We collectively will pursue that price and that promise of citizenship for you." I want to thank tonight's organizers for allowing me and my partner to share our views and our opinions. And I want to thank all of you in the audience who have listened to us tonight. And I know when you go home, you're going to have a lot to digest. I hope that all of you come out to vote on Wednesday for the Hempstead Village Trustee Board election on March 18th. Have a great evening, and thank you to our moderator.
Thank you.